The James Show Podcast.
All right, State Rep Brian Harrison already being a diva. Worst guest ever.
I got to keep the tradition alive, my friend.
Coming in, just telling people what to do. All right, State Rep Brian Harrison in the building. Nice to finally meet you here.
You too.
And I noticed that you immediately hit it off with Kaylee Campbell.
Yes.
Because I had seen that either you or someone in your staff had quote tweeted one of her videos. So I knew you were aware of her, but you have some pretty strong opinions on the H-1B situation in Texas as well.
Well, absolutely, and Kaylee's doing a great job exposing this. It's a massive scandal affecting not just Texas, but the whole country. And the reason that I'm so offended by it, and I'm trying to get the word out about this, it's not just some of these shady underground companies that people always assume are doing all this importing the labor and this sort of thing as opposed to American workers. The Texas government, and I'm sorry I'm going to keep the trend alive here with some bad news for you, James. The Texas government, through our public universities, is actually one of the top 10 biggest users or abusers of the H-1B program in the entire state of Texas. I know.
You're keeping it with the bad news, Brian.
One of these days, I'm going to come on with some good news. But, I will tell you, I am so much more enjoying being with you, not in the Capitol, but in Dallas, Texas, in a bar. There's people drinking what looked to me like good beer.
This is Fort Worth.
Yes. Fort Worth. I'm sorry, Fort Worth. Dallas, Fort Worth.
Look, there's the
Metroplex.
You get booed again for that one. Yeah, this is better than hanging out in the Capitol. You don't get along. You don't have a lot of friends in Austin, do you?
Well, the conservatives that are down there, the handful of them, we get along great. The problem is we've got a real dearth of actual pro-liberty, Texas-first patriots in elected office in the state of Texas. But we're working to change.
All right, so how'd you find this out about H-1B visas in the Texas state government?
So I can't remember. I think I was on War Room with Bannon or something. We were talking about this, and so I had my team just start digging in. Who were the biggest problems in the state of Texas? And so to my both shock and horror, it actually wasn't a private company. Yeah, there are several of those. But when we found out, pouring through the data and just doing various sorts, it is the Texas government right there at the very top. And you know what really turned me on to it? It was like, okay, Florida's governor, Ron DeSantis, was taking some very bold action shutting down that with the Florida government state entities. And I'm like, well, why the hell aren't we doing that here in Texas? And then I wanted to know how bad the problem was. And then when we did the various additions and sorts, it's like not only is it a bad problem, the Texas government, again, top 10 abuser of the H-1B thing.
All right, so what are they doing? What is the government? Why do they need all of these H-1B immigrants?
Well, and the thing is, so we looked at that because, the people who do these programs, it's always like, it's super specialized skills and super trained folks that we just don't have here. No, it's like assistant lab scheduling clerks, stuff that you don't need a college degree for, assistant professors in the basics. And here's the grand irony of the situation. If there was ever a sort of a sector of our economy or an industry that you would think would never need to import labor because they're literally in the business of training and educating the workforce of tomorrow, it would be the public universities. The public universities should be the last people that need to import foreign workers because they can literally train their own on whatever they need.
Yeah, like jeepers, we're going to have to import someone. If only there were a mechanism by which we could train people.
Right, like how in the world would we go about training some more engineers and mathematicians? Does anybody know how to do that?
Well, who else is on the list of H-1B?
I don't have the list in front of me. But I don't know offhand. All I know is that the Texas government was in the top 10, and that's what jumped out.
Well, is some of this out of your jurisdiction? As a state legislature, you don't have a whole lot of pullover immigration law.
Well, I mean, as one member of the legislature, not so much. But as the Texas government, the branch of government, the legislative branch, it's supposed to write the laws. We actually have total power to end this if the Texas House and the Texas Senate want to do it. All we would have to do is pass a law that would prohibit, offering of jobs to foreign workers where, American employees could do the jobs. Or, quite frankly, we have the power of the purse. A lot of my colleagues...
Isn't that already federal law?
Well, the federal government does control immigration policy,
right?
But the state of Texas has total control who we hire within our government entities.
So we could rein in what our university system's doing, but this stuff in Frisco is still going to go nuts.
100% within the government entities, and also the power of the purse. Make it real simple. Just put a budget writer in there. Hey, if you're engaged in H-1B abuse, you get $0. So if you're some public university that's getting $5 billion or whatever, if you're engaged in H-1B abuse, you get $0. That's the kind of bold action I think Texans want.
So as a state rep, what do you do this is an off year.
It is.
They only meet every other year. So what's your job for the next calendar year?
Well, I mean, a couple things. So it's election season. So as you're aware, I've been exposing a lot of the corruption down in Austin. So the swamp doesn't like that. So they got a few fake Republican rhinos running against me. So I got to go dispense with a couple.
Oh, you're getting primaried?
The swamp has found, two of the most liberal, Trump-hating, open border supporting. One of my Republican opponents literally called to tear down the Trump border wall. That's how crazy these people are. But, hey, they fit along in the swamp better than I would, so I understand it. But here's the thing. So, yeah, I got to defeat some rhinos in 5 weeks, 6 weeks here in the primary. But what I put out a call for this week is Texans we're not supposed to be back in session for another year. And I usually like that. Look, because anytime the legislature meets, right, your freedom and your wallet's at risk, right?
Right.
But we have some problems that we got to deal with that we were supposed to deal with last year. Top of the list, property taxes. We've got probably the highest effective property tax rate in the country. There's no reason to wait another year or two to pretend to deal with that. Let's start eliminating property taxes now. But then also, as we see the growing threat from these Sharia adherents and these Sharia communities that are sort of invading and exploding here in the state of Texas, the government, that the Austin Uniparty brags that we've banned Sharia law or that we've banned these, Sharia compounds like Epic City. The truth is we've done neither. And so if we're going to say the Texas government's going to stand up and protect Texas citizens against the threat from organizations that probably have ties to terrorist organizations, well, those words should be met with action. So I'm formally requesting that the governor, let's get through the primaries, but then the House and Senate, we need to have emergency interim legislative hearings. Let's craft solutions on eliminating property tax. Let's get real solutions to combat the threat from Sharia. Get that crafted, hold public hearings, expose the threat, detail the solutions, and then have the governor bring us back. And let's not wait 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years to deal with these big problems.
So in the Sharia city situation, a lot of people like to tap dance around this because we all know it's bad if large groups of people who are antithetical to Western civilization come here, they isolate themselves, they don't assimilate, and then they grow in gigantic numbers. Yeah. And we know that's bad because that's how we got America. That's how we got Texas. How did we get Texas from Mexico? We came here illegally, immigrated in giant numbers. We didn't adopt their language. We didn't adopt their religion. We didn't adopt their culture. And when we vastly outnumbered the locals, we petitioned the mother country for annexation. That's how we got Texas. And so when people say, well, why do you care about Sharia cities? What, are you worried about them taking over? Kind of, yeah.
Well, look at the pictures out of London. Look at the videos out of London. Look at all of the no-go zones over there where the civil authorities in Britain are basically saying, okay, we're hands-off. You Sharia tribunals, you deal with it. We're not going to send in the civil authorities because, we can't handle it. We're scared, whatever. And basically non-Sharia adherents don't even go in there. And here's what people are shocked to learn. I know we're here in Fort Worth right now. There are two functioning, as you and I sit here and speak, James, at the Parker Brews.
Sharia courts.
There are two Sharia tribunals, one in Irving and one in Dallas. So not only can it happening here, James, it's starting to happen here.
That State Rep Brian Harrison continuing with me here. Now check this out. This is what the RINO list looks like.
Oh yeah.
Because I had your people send me this list, and then we posted it online, and some lady in Fort Worth. I mean, not in Fort Worth, in Florida. Yeah, Florida. She made this map. And so I was like, well, thank you, and sent it back. So I put your list with the map. And
Look at that.
So the numbers are right here. So you can find out if you want to see this map. It is pinned on my X feed. See right here, my X feed. It's been my pinned post.
I remember when we were formulating this, halfway through session or so last year.
Yeah. See, March 28th, 2025.
Right it wasn't even halfway. Yeah, early on.
Yeah, so if you want to find out if you're in one of the districts that needs to get their RINO out, we take care of that in the primaries. Now, are you in the primary process? Is happening March?
We're all there. So March 3rd is the primary here in Texas. We have very early primaries. So early voting actually starts February 17th. So if you care about coming out and electing a conservative, early voting is just around the corner.
Yeah, and look, in this map, there's a lot in the WBAP listening area. The people who are listening right now, it looks like there's almost a 50-50 chance that you're in a RINO, because some of these are actually blue districts. So if you don't just assume because you have a Republican or someone with the R after their name that they're going to go to Austin, they're going to give you property tax cuts, they're going to give you school choice. And what is the weird obsession with THC. Can I just bring up a...
I love talking these issues with you.
Yeah.
That and the blue laws, right? We're going to get to that in a minute. So, when you can buy alcohol on Sundays. Yeah. No, it was an odd thing, the THC ban. I don't really know where that came from. I have some theories on where that came from.
Alcohol lobby?
The alcohol lobby, the hospitals, prisons. It was just
drug lobby?
I think so. Who knows? Well, also the sort of the league, the medical marijuana community, because they want to be able to sell their stuff at a whole, because that's technically legal, even though it's still not legal at the federal level. It's all a big mess, and honestly, I think some very liberal special interests were pushing a lot of that. But on to the other thing about, you talk about don't just assume that because someone's got an R by their name, they're going to be protecting liberty. I mean, that was a classic example. We were going to hurt veterans. We were going to hurt people who either want or relied on these products in the millions and force them into dangerous pharmaceuticals or to the unregulated and highly deadly black market. So it was a bad deal all the way around. But the bigger thing for Texas, right before I got elected, James, you know this, and I worked for President Trump in D.C. against the swamp of D.C., but nothing could have prepared me when I got elected in Texas 4 years ago for these, the total corruption of Republicans that tell their voters, because they campaign like they're Ron Paul and then they govern like they're Mitch McConnell, right? They say, vote for me, I'll stand up to the radical Democrats, vote for me, I'll fight back against the leftists and want to bankrupt the next generation. But then the second they get elected, they go underneath the pink dome of the Texas Capitol, close the doors, and I've seen this with my own eyes, they vote to put those very Democrats in power. They let the Democrat caucus select the Speaker of the Texas House. They let Democrats chair our committees. They got a Barack Obama lawyer as the most senior staffer in the Texas House, killing Republican priorities left and right. I've never seen that level of just rank, naked corruption. And I think it's because the voters of Texas, they've been voting just Republicans, but they have not known. The sort of the secrecy has allowed this corruption for going on so long. But I tell you what, James, in large part because of you, the WABAP audience, and social media, Texans' eyes are being opened like never before to this type of rank corruption that's been going on in Austin for far too long. So I'm very grateful to you, the James Parker Show, and the WBAP audience. You guys have allowed us to have some of the huge conservative victories over the objections of the swamp, like getting rid of the transgender DEI advocate at Texas A&M, ending the biggest DEI program in Texas. We ended that 3 months ago. And then DMV. Y'all helped me force the DMV to stop issuing vehicle registrations to illegal aliens. The swamp had been doing that for years and years and years, but because grassroots patriots, when they were exposed to the problem, because I let them know on social media or coming on the James Parker Show, they melted the phone lines in Austin, and we delivered the biggest policy victory for border security that happened all year over 3 sessions.
Well, the hard part about convincing people to be, I don't want to say upset, but, interested in this is because you're trying to get them to be interested in a negative.
Yeah.
If someone gets hurt, you can point and say, that person got punched in the face, that person got shot, that person had money stolen from them. But you can't point and say, look, they didn't do anything to the Democrats that fled the quorum, so we couldn't get business done. Remember they said all these bad things, like if they don't come back immediately, we're going to take away all their chairs and kick them out of power.
We're going to vacate their seat.
Yeah.
He signed the Speaker of the House signed arrest warrants. Did you see anybody get arrested on the news, James?
No, and you made the good point. Not one person even lost their parking spot.
No parking spots. No parking spots.
So how do we fix that?
Well, what I think needs to happen is, in this Republican primary coming up in 6 weeks,
it's all about this list, isn't it?
It's the list, and it's just voters doing just a little. You guys have been, the voters of Texas are Republican. Re-elected President Trump, 14-point landslide. Voters are conservative. They're Republican. They want bold Republican leadership. They've been voting for Republicans. But I'm going to have to ask you guys, if you want to save our state and save our country, do just a hair more work. Do your own research. Don't just judge only by what the slick mailers that come in your mailbox or the TV ads you see. Look at the voting record. Ask your Republicans in the primary. Tell them to give you concrete, tangible examples of ways they have stood up to the corrupt uniparty leadership in the Austin swamp. But if they don't have good examples for that, or ways they fought to cut government, cut spending, and actually slash your taxes, if they don't have good examples, start looking for an opponent for them.
How annoying are shallow critics? Because I've gotten people complain when I talk about how I'm okay with gambling being legal in the state of Texas. I don't care if they build a casino like in the middle of the sports arena. I don't care if they're spinning the roulette wheel at halftime on the star of the Cowboys game. And so people were like, well, you get paid off. It's like, I wish I was getting, where do I get my pro gambling money, because I'm pro-gambling anyway. I might as well get paid for it.
Yes, well, same thing. Every time I take a position that involves reducing government somehow, and this is like what you would think down in Austin is this totally novel concept of letting people be free to live their lives the way they, their family, their faith, their God see fit to live. It's without fail. The accusations come flying from 360 degrees. Harrison's being paid off. Oh, look at the money. I'm like, where is all this money that I'm allegedly, getting? It's the same thing for you. No, I'm not being bought off. I dealt with this in the Trump administration too, and I was deregulating this or deregulating that. Oh, which industry is he trying to help? Which industry is he trying to hurt? I'm like, no. I understand you liberal media, and same thing in the Texas media. They have no concept for no. I just believe this is the role of government. I just actually believe in freedom. I just want people to have less government, lower regulations, lower taxes. And as long as they're not bothering me, I, generally speaking, do not care. Let people be free. And I just, man, I tell you, James, I just want people, government to be as irrelevant to our lives as possible so we can be as free as God meant for us to be. But in the corrupt Austin swamp, I mean, you would think that's some kind of heresy or something.
All right, we got Brian fired up. I think gambling's the most obvious one. Both sides should like that. For Republicans, it's about making money. It's about profit. It's about freedom. For Democrats, they should like it because it's debauchery. All right, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
I don't know how to top that.
Nice to finally
perfect
meet you in
ending
person.
to a segment. Great to be with you in person.
The James Show Podcast.